Ford Mustang, one of the most iconic vehicles known to man, lasting over 50 years on the streets of America and across the globe. Over 50 plus years, Ford created hundreds of different models and 6 different generations of cars to meet people's wants and needs. Production on the Mustang started in 1960 when Ford realized they needed to attract young buyers. The first ever model of the Ford Mustang was released and shown to the public on April 17, 1964 at the World's Fair in New York. It was named after the P-51 Mustang fighter plane from World War II. Initially, the Ford only produced 100,000 sales in the first year of production, but exceeded those numbers by selling over 417,000 Mustangs in its first year. 22,000 of those were sold on the first day. To put it into a larger perspective, Ford sold 1 million Mustangs in the first 18 months of sales. The original Mustang, the 1964.5, started at $2,368. You're probably wondering, why is it called the 1964.5 and not just the 1964 Mustang? That's because the car was not released until the middle of 1964. The base Mustang in 1946 delivered 105 horsepower and 156 pounds of torque via its inline-six engine. Although this car did end up seeing a great deal of power in its day, because of the 1969-1970 Boss 429 delivered 375 horsepower and 450 pounds of torque. In 1965, the 1965 Mustang was released. It was the most successful launch for the Ford Motor Company since the Model A in 1927. Along with the coupe and convertible, Ford adds a fastback model to the year's lineup. In 1965, the first Shelby Mustang is also introduced. It has no rear seat and the spare tire was stored under the rear windshield. In April of 1965, the first ever Mustang GT is introduced. In March of 1966, sales of the Mustang passed the 1 million mark. By the time 1967 comes around, the Shelby GT500 is introduced with a V8 engine that produces 355 horsepower. On April 1, 1968, the 428 Cobra jet engine is introduced and now offered as an option. On October 17, 1968, the 68 Mustang 390 GT is featured in the hit movie Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen. In 1969, the Mustang Mach 1 Boss 302 with a 290 horsepower, the Boss 429 with 375 horsepower, and the Grande luxury models are introduced into the lineup. In 1971, the largest Mustangs ever were created. They are nearly a foot longer and 600 pounds heavier than the earlier Mustangs. By the time 1973 rolls around, it is the last year that the original Falcon design is produced. In 1974, there's a complete redesign. The Mustang II is introduced. It is nearly 500 pounds lighter and 19 inches shorter than the previous models. There is no convertible option and no V8 option for the first time in the Mustang's history. Although, in 1975, the V8 engine would return. In 1976, the Cobra II is introduced with a racing stripe design. In 1977, a fastback model becomes available with T-top glass panels that are removable, much to the delight of convertible fans. In 1979, a new Mustang is introduced called Fox. It has more of an European type of design. It was longer and taller, but about 200 pounds lighter than the Mustang II. In 1981, the turbo 4-cylinder engine is dropped from the Mustang's lineup. In 1982, after 12 years, the GT returns, as well as optional T-tops. The Mustang convertible returns in 1983 after being absent for 10 years. In 1984, the Mustang SVO is launched by Ford's Special Vehicle Operations. It has bigger tires and is turbocharged. In 1985, a new 5.0-liter V8 engine is introduced and is capable of 210 horsepower with a manual transmission. In 1986, Ford adds a new multi-port fuel injection to the V8. Yet again, in 1987, there's another redesign for the Mustang. Sales for the Mustang are still going strong, with 211,225 being sold in 1988. More than half of those sold were Mustangs that had the 5.0-liter V8 engine. In 1989, Ford celebrates the Mustang's 25th anniversary by adding a 25 years decal to Mustangs made between April 17, 1989 and April 17, 1990. In 1990, a driver's airbag becomes standard for all Mustangs. By 1991, new Mustangs feature an improved 4-cylinder engine. In 92, the Mustang LX 5.0 outsells all other Mustang models combined. In 1993, the limited edition Mustang Cobra is introduced during the last year of the Fox body design. The Racing Cobra R model also sells out before the production on it even begins. In 1994, it was the Mustang's 30th anniversary, and the Mustang gets a complete makeover. Out of the 1,850 parts on the Mustang, 1,330 of them got changed and or modified. In 1995, Ford announced that it was the last year the 5.0-liter V8 engine was going to be produced. In 1996, Mustang GTs and SVT Cobras include the new 4.6-liter V8 engine for the first time. These new modular V8 engines have overhead cams to open exhaust valves. In 1997, Ford introduces a new safety feature, which is the passive anti-theft system, which was included with all models. The Mustang GTs got a boost in 98 when there was a 4.6-liter engine, got its horsepower up to 225. Another makeover was done to the Mustang in 1999, which included a new hood, grille, lights, wheel arches, and sharper lines. In 2000, the third SVT Mustang Cobra is introduced. It is the first Mustang ever to have a 6-speed manual transmission. In 2001, the Mustang Bullitt GT joins the lineup. It is inspired by the 1968 Mustang 390 GT featured in the movie Bullitt, where Steve McQueen drives the classic car. 2002 was a good year for the Mustang as one of its close competitors, the Pontiac Firebird, production ends. In 2003, a revised version of the Mustang Mach 1 is released. It has the Ram Air hood scoop and 305 horsepower V8 engine. In 2004, Ford produced its 300 millionth car, which was an 04 Mustang 40th anniversary edition. In the fall of 2004, production of the 2005 Ford Mustang begins. In 2008, a farmer from Iowa buys the 9 millionth Mustang. It was a GT convertible. On April 17, 2009, the Ford Motor Company honors the Mustang's 45th anniversary with a celebration in Birmingham, Alabama. In 2004, the Mustang is restyled once again, but this time with a more muscular design. In 2011, the Coyote 5.0-liter V8 is introduced, marking the return of the Mustang's 5.0 option. In 2012, the Boss 302 returns to the Mustang's lineup after more than 40 years. It is considered by many to be the best handling Mustang ever. In 2013, the Shelby GT500 is launched. With a supercharged 5.8-liter V8 and 662 horsepower, it becomes the most powerful V8 in the world. In April of 2014, Ford celebrated its 50th anniversary by displaying the brand new 2015 Mustang convertible on the observation deck of the Empire State Building in New York City. New York is where it all started for the Mustang when it made its debut in 1964 at the World's Fair. For over 50 years, Ford continued to produce and create well-known and recognizable models of the Mustang, which have been even seen their own product in famous movies such as Bullitt and Goldfinger. The Mustang is still being produced and sold today, and there are no signs of slowing, as there are rumors every day of possible new models.